Most beginners in the United States approach passive income with the wrong mental frame. They believe it is about shortcuts, hacks, or fast money. That misunderstanding is the main reason most beginners fail before they even start. In the U.S. economy, passive income works when it is built on systems that reduce dependence on daily effort. It is not about doing nothing. It is about doing the right work once and letting structure do the rest. For beginners, the biggest challenge is not capital. It is clarity. Many people have enough time, basic skills, and access to digital tools, but they do not know which direction actually works in real U.S. conditions. The American market rewards value that solves problems at scale. When beginners focus on assets instead of activities, passive income becomes realistic rather than imaginary. Before discussing specific strategies, it is important to understand what qualifies as passive income in a practical sense. Passive income means income that does not require your presence for each transaction. The work happens up front, but the result continues. The U.S. economy is built around scalable systems, which is why beginners have more opportunity here than in most countries. The first passive income strategy that consistently works for beginners in the U.S. is building digital utility assets. These are simple digital products designed to solve a narrow, practical problem for a specific group. Examples include calculators, templates, trackers, planners, workflows, and process guides. Americans regularly pay for tools that save time, reduce confusion, or eliminate repetitive tasks. This strategy works because U.S. consumers value efficiency. Data from the U.S. Small Business Administration shows that administrative overload is one of the most common pain points for small businesses and independent professionals. Beginners can convert this pain into income by creating digital tools that make everyday processes easier. A beginner does not need advanced technical skills. Many successful digital products are built using basic spreadsheet software or document tools. What matters is understanding the problem deeply and presenting a solution clearly. For example, a simple expense tracking system for freelance workers can outperform complex financial software if it is easier to use. The passive element comes from automation. Once the product is created and uploaded to a platform that handles payment and delivery, the system runs continuously. Each sale happens without additional effort. Over time, a single product can generate income repeatedly without needing updates. Beginners often fail here because they overcomplicate the product. In the U.S. market, clarity sells better than complexity. A beginner who solves one problem well will outperform someone who tries to solve 10 problems poorly. The focus should be on usefulness, not perfection. The second strategy that works for beginners is ownership-based income through participation in U.S. companies that produce real goods and services. This is not about short-term trading or speculation. It is about owning pieces of productive businesses that generate consistent revenue. U.S. companies operate within one of the most transparent financial systems in the world. Public companies release earnings reports, financial statements, and business updates regularly. This allows beginners to understand how a company makes money and whether it is sustainable. Income from ownership comes from profit sharing, not from lending or debt. This distinction matters because income is tied to real economic activity. When a company sells products or services and earns profit, owners participate in that success. For beginners, this strategy works best when approached with patience. It is not designed for fast results. It is designed for stability. Many Americans build long-term income by consistently owning parts of companies over time, rather than trying to time the market. The U.S. market structure makes this accessible. Fractional ownership allows beginners to start small. There is no requirement to buy full shares or large positions. The passive nature comes from separation between ownership and operation. The business runs whether the owner is active or not. Beginners often make mistakes by chasing excitement. This strategy rewards discipline instead. Companies with steady revenue, clear business models, and long operating histories tend to provide more consistent income over time. The beginner advantage is simplicity. There is no need for constant decision-making. The third passive income strategy that works for beginners is content licensing tied to evergreen demand. This involves creating reusable digital content that platforms distribute continuously. Examples include instructional visuals, background media, educational diagrams, and standardized informational content. The U.S. economy has a massive demand for licensed content. Businesses, educators, marketers, and media producers constantly need assets that save production time. Instead of creating everything from scratch, they license existing content. Beginners benefit because once content is uploaded and approved, the platform handles distribution and sales. Each time the content is used, income is generated without additional effort. Over time, a content library becomes a system rather than individual pieces. This strategy works best when content focuses on long-term relevance. Evergreen content performs better than trend-based material. Educational diagrams, process explanations, and general business visuals remain useful for years. Data from U.S. digital media platforms shows that evergreen utility content consistently outperforms entertainment content in long-term licensing revenue. Beginners who focus on usefulness rather than popularity create more durable income streams. Across all three strategies, the core principle is asset creation. Beginners succeed when they stop selling time and start building things that continue working without them. The U.S. economy rewards systems because systems scale. Another important factor is beginner mindset. Passive income does not replace active income immediately. It complements it. Beginners should focus on building one asset at a time, rather than chasing multiple strategies at once. Consistency matters more than intensity. A single well-built digital product or content asset can outperform dozens of unfinished ideas. The U.S. market values reliability. Showing up once with value is better than showing up often with noise. Beginners should also understand that passive income improves with time. Early results may be small. That does not mean the system is broken. It means the asset is still compounding visibility and trust. Distribution plays a major role. Platforms matter more than personal effort. Choosing platforms with built-in demand allows beginners to benefit from existing traffic. This reduces the need for constant promotion. Another reason these strategies work in the U.S. is legal and digital infrastructure. Payment processing, digital delivery, and licensing systems are standardized and reliable. Beginners can focus on creation rather than logistics. Passive income also protects time. Many beginners underestimate the value of time flexibility. Systems that earn without daily input allow room for learning, growth, and adjustment. The biggest mistake beginners make is quitting too early. Passive income strategies fail when they are abandoned before maturity. The U.S. market rewards those who stay consistent and patient. Part 1 establishes the foundation. These strategies work because they align with how the U.S. economy actually functions. They are not shortcuts. They are structures. In Part 2, the focus will move into execution. How beginners can start with limited time, avoid common mistakes, and combine these strategies into a realistic long-term income framework that fits real-life responsibilities. In Part 1, the focus was on understanding which passive income strategies actually work for beginners in the United States. In Part 2, the focus shifts to execution. This is where most beginners struggle, not because the strategies are wrong, but because implementation is misunderstood. Passive income fails when people treat it like motivation instead of structure. The first execution principle beginners must understand is sequencing. Trying to build everything at once leads to burnout. The most successful beginners choose one strategy, one platform, and one problem. They build depth before scale. In the U.S. market, specialization builds trust faster than variety. For digital utility assets, execution starts with observation, not creation. Beginners should study existing products and identify friction points. Reviews, complaints, and usage gaps reveal what users actually need. This research step replaces guessing. Americans are vocal about inefficiencies. Listening carefully saves months of wasted effort. Once the problem is clear, the product should be intentionally simple. Beginners often add features to feel competitive, but simplicity wins. A clean, focused tool that performs one function reliably outperforms complex systems that confuse users. Execution means finishing something usable, not endlessly improving drafts. Automation must be set up early. Payment processing, delivery, and basic customer support responses should run without manual input. The goal is to prevent dependency on daily availability. Passive income only becomes passive when systems are allowed to operate independently. For ownership-based income, execution depends on discipline and routine rather than activity. Beginners should set consistent contribution habits instead of reacting emotionally to news or price movement. The U.S. market rewards long-term participation, not constant intervention. Research matters here, but it must be bounded. Beginners should understand what a company sells, how it earns revenue, and whether the business model is understandable. If a business cannot be explained simply, it is often misunderstood. Simplicity protects beginners from unnecessary risk. Another execution mistake is monitoring too frequently. Passive ownership income requires patience. Constant checking introduces stress without improving outcomes. Beginners should treat ownership as infrastructure, not entertainment. The asset works in the background. Content licensing execution requires consistency and standards, rather than creativity spikes. Platforms prioritize clarity, usability, and compliance. Beginners must follow technical requirements precisely. Resolution, formatting, and metadata matter more than artistic flair. The goal is not virality. It is repeat usage. Evergreen content succeeds because it solves recurring needs. Beginners should focus on assets that professionals, educators, and businesses can reuse without modification. Uploading once and disappearing is a mistake. Execution means building a small but consistent library. Each asset strengthens the system. Over time, platforms reward reliability and volume. Across all strategies, time management is critical. Beginners often overestimate available time and underestimate fatigue. Passive income works best when built in small, repeatable blocks. 30 focused minutes daily outperforms occasional long sessions. Another important execution factor is expectation management. Passive income grows unevenly. Some assets perform slowly and then stabilize. Others gain traction unexpectedly. Beginners should evaluate progress over months, not days. Tracking basic metrics helps without creating obsession. Sales volume, download activity, and usage trends provide feedback. Beginners should adjust only when patterns are clear, not based on single outcomes. Combining strategies should only happen after one system stabilizes. Many beginners fail by splitting attention too early. The US market rewards consistency. Depth creates leverage. Legal and platform compliance is another overlooked area. Beginners must read platform rules carefully. Violations can remove assets permanently. Passive income depends on durability. Protecting assets is as important as creating them. Another execution mistake is ignoring branding clarity. Even simple assets benefit from clear naming, descriptions, and positioning. Americans respond to direct communication. If users immediately understand what an asset does, conversion improves. Beginners should avoid comparison. Passive income systems differ widely in pace. Comparing early results to established creators leads to unnecessary discouragement. Execution requires patience more than confidence. Reinvestment strengthens passive systems. Income generated should be partially reinvested into better tools, improved assets, or expanded libraries. This compounds progress without increasing workload. One overlooked benefit of passive income is skill accumulation. Each asset teaches research, design, marketing, and system thinking. These skills transfer across strategies. Beginners often gain more value from learning than from early income. Failure is part of execution. Some assets will underperform. This does not invalidate the strategy, it refines it. Beginners should analyze outcomes calmly and apply lessons forward. Another important factor is environmental support. Workspace organization, distraction control, and schedule protection increase execution quality. Passive income grows from focused effort, not chaotic multitasking. Beginners should also recognize when to pause creation and optimize distribution. Sometimes better descriptions, clearer visuals, or improved metadata unlock existing asset performance. Execution is not always about making more. The US economy supports long-term asset builders. Digital infrastructure, consumer behavior, and platform ecosystems favor those who persist. Passive income is less about intelligence and more about endurance. By combining realistic expectations, structured execution, and patience, beginners can build systems that function without daily involvement. Passive income becomes dependable when it is treated like infrastructure rather than opportunity. Part 2 completes the framework. These strategies work when applied with discipline, clarity, and time. Beginners who focus on building assets instead of chasing speed create income systems that last.